Hi everyone, welcome back to Jolie Knots Crochet. I'm Crystal, and the tutorial today that we're going to do is to learn how to make the star stitch. We're going to start our chain and we're going to make that multiples of 2. Now since we're just doing a sample piece, I'm going to make it about 5 or 6 inches wide. 3, 4, 5, 6, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so this is about a 5-inch starting chain, and what you're going to want to know when you do the star stitch is that your work is going to kind of shrink up a little bit. It's not going to stay this same exact length. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do to get our working into our starting chain is we're going to get that second loop from your hook, put your hook through, draw up a loop. Now we've got 2 loops. Into the next chain, draw up a loop, and we're going to do that 2 more times. Each time we make this star stitch and we're on this row, we're going to have 5 loops on our hook every single time, and then we're going to yarn over and draw through all 5 loops. Chain 1, that's to secure our stitch. Now that we've got our chain 1, this is going to be the eye of your star pattern. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stick our hook into the eye of that stitch, pull up a loop. Now this chain space where we pulled up our last loop from this stitch, that's where we're going to be working in. The same chain space as the last stitch. Put your hook into there, pull up a loop. And now we're going to do that 2 more times, 1 in each chain space. Pull up a loop, and into the next one, pull up a loop. And now we've got 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 5. That is your second star stitch. Star stitch is comprised of 2 rows, so this is our first row. Let me show you a couple more times. Remember to chain 1 to secure, and we're going to be working into that eye. So hook in, pull up a loop, the last stitch here, hook in, pull up a loop, 2 more from the chains, 1, 2, yarn over, pull through all, chain 1. Let's go all the way down. Yarn into the eye of the stitch. Remember not to chain your chain to secure too tightly, or it'll be very hard to get in there. So there's 1. Here's 2. 3, 4. Yarn over, pull through all, chain 1 to secure, and again through the eye, through the last stitch worked, and 2 more, 1, 2. Again, we have 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all. I'm going to go ahead and complete this to the end of the row. Okay, so now that we're at the end of the row, we have 1 chain space left. What we're going to do in that chain space after we secure our last star stitch, we're going to go ahead and pop a half double crochet into that stitch. Just a half double, just like that. And now we've finished our first row of the star stitch. Now, remember when our chain was 5 inches long? Well, this is now 3.5 inches. So if you're doing a project with this stitch, what you're going to want to do is make a swatch That way you can gauge exactly how long you need your chain space. Okay, so now on to row 2. What we're going to do is chain 2, turn your work, and we're going to be working into the eye of the stitches, right where everything pulls together. And what we're going to do is we're going to pop 2 half double crochets right into the eye of each stitch. So there's 1, there's 2, there's our next eye. We're going to put 2 in there. And the next one. Really simple. This one is just completing the second row of our star stitches. Star stitch is going to be a 2-row repeat. So in the next row, I will show you how to be working on top of the last row. 2 double crochets into the eye of each stitch all the way across. And the last one. Okay, so now that we are at the end of our row, our second row for the star stitch, what we're going to do is we're going to put a half double crochet right onto the top of that first stitch from this row, from your first row, okay? Half double crochet right into the top of that stitch. And now we've completed our second row. So we've got 1 full row of the star stitch. And now let's work on row 3. Rows 3 and 4 are going to be your repeats. I'm going to show you 3 because we're actually working into the stitches instead of into the chain. So how we're going to start that one is we are going to chain 3. Your half double crochet rows, chain 2. Your starting, or you're setting up your stars, is chain 3. And so the reason that's chain 3 is because we're going to start pulling up our loops. So into the second chain from the hook, pull up a loop. Into the third chain from the hook, pull up a loop. And now we're going to be working in our stitches. So we're going to go right into that first half double crochet, pull up a loop, and into the second half double crochet, pull up a loop. And now we've got 5 loops on our hook. Remember that? Go ahead, yarn over, pull through all 5 loops, chain 1 to secure. And now that is the first part of our first star. So next is going to be right into the eye of the stitch, into the last stitch worked from the previous star, and then 2 more. Pull up a loop, pull up a loop, and we are going to have 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 5, chain 1 to secure. Alright, next one into the eye of the stitch, into the last stitch worked, 2 more, 1, 2, yarn over, pull through all 5 loops, chain 1 to secure. Let's go ahead and make it to the end. 1. Okay, so now that we are at the end of the row, let me show you how to complete that. We're going to chain our 1 to secure, and we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the top of this last star stitch. Show you right. So we've got our stitches worked. This is our last stitch worked, and this will be our next open stitch, the last stitch of the row. And that's where we're going to put our last half double crochet. We're always going to end the row with a half double crochet. Okay, so this is your row 3. Now we're going to work on row 4, and this is going to be our repeat, 3 and 4. Alright, so we're going to chain 2. Remember, half double crochet row is chain 2, beginning star stitch row is chain 3. So here we've chained 2. That's going to count as our first half double crochet. Yarn over, and now we're working into the eye of each stitch. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 half double crochets into the eye of each stitch. All right, we've got 1 star stitch left. 1, 2, and now remember our last half double crochet is worked into the top of this stitch. Whoops. Just like that. And now we've got 2 rows of the star stitch. There are 2 sides to this. Personally, in my opinion, I think that this side looks better. It's up to you, personal preference, whichever you like. So you're going to keep doing that and repeating rows 3 and row 4 until you get to your desired length, your desired width, whatever it is that you're making. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment for any recommendations or tutorials that you guys would like to see, and I will see you next time.